Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Shark and Mouse Hasu here in the XelNaga Caverns, or on the XelNaga Caverns. That just doesn't quite sound right. So yeah, here in the XelNaga Caverns, it is going to be a Taran versus Protoss matchup. I believe this was coming in from the CS Cup, the second CS Cup. So yeah, go ahead and be on the lookout for more of those tournaments and more of these games. Back over here, we do have Shark spawning as the red Taran player over here on the south side. Meanwhile, we have Mouse Hasu spawning over here as the blue Protoss player over here on the north side of the map. Now, XelNaga Caverns is becoming one of my favorite maps just because that it's not your typical matchup. There is really no center. There's this giant gaping hole in the center of the map, and a lot of players just have a lot of difficulty trying to respond to that. Already, we see an early probe trying to make sure that there's no sort of proxy racks hiding over here, but he did not go behind this brush. Not quite sure why. Also, feel free to leave comments on the microphone. I am trying to raise up the gain on it a little bit more, enabling it or making it a little bit more easy to hear perhaps. So yeah, go ahead and let me know how that works, as now we have a barracks being thrown down by one SCV. Double XelNaga watchtowers quickly being activated before Hasu is gonna run up this ramp. So as he runs up this ramp, he will be able to see this early racks, and now also see this this refinery. Sorry, not an early racks. We'll be able to see the first racks of the game and also see a refinery. A probe is going to be doing some fighting, and yeah, that probe will be backing off at just the last moment and start doing that probe harassment. Back over here, Hasu getting this first gateway and also getting an assimilator as well. Probe just dancing around on the inside. Shark quickly sending two additional SCVs to start mining, so it's going to be a full group of SCVs on that refinery. And now we also have a barracks. So are we going to get a tech lab? No, we're going to get a marine trained instead. So an early marine as opposed to that early tech lab. Now, because of that, Hasu may decide to go for a second gateway, but most likely will be throwing down a cybernetics core. As yeah, not throwing down another cybernetics core. I believe, is that enough room for another gateway, or is that just going to be dead space? Not 100% sure. Back over here, we do have Hasu, and now perhaps going to try to hide a proxy pylon, or try to do something sneaky. We'll see what this probe does in the back of the base, as we have one marine standing guard, making sure that no probes are able to sneak by. We do have a second racks now being thrown down, and I like the positioning on this barracks, just because it's a little bit further behind. In comes the probe. Probe, however, will not be able to get up that ramp. But with the conditioning, or with that barracks so far away, I do not believe that Hasu knows about that second barracks yet. So he does not know that it is going to be a dual racks build as opposed to a factory. We'll see how he responds to this, as we now have a zealot being trained up and also getting an early sentry. We are also having a pylon being warped in over here. So what this pylon may open up the gameplay is perhaps a Stargate on the bottom right hand side. We'll see if he goes for Phoenixes, or perhaps goes for Phoenixes, or might even be a Robo Bay. But now already we have an early Reaper, and that Reaper is just going to cause a lot of harassment and issues. We do now have a sentry coming, sentry being warped in, but that sentry, even with that force field, is not going to really be able to do anything. Reaper does not have the same range as a sentry. I believe the range has a range of 5, or yeah, a range of 5 compared to the Reaper's 4.5, but that Reaper may be able to get in a couple quick shots. And now over here, are we chrono boosting? No, not chrono boosting the Stalker, as this Reaper is now in the base, and we should quickly see some of these probes being pulled away. Zealot needs to make its way over there, as those probes now are going to try to do some sort of surround over there. Reaper now trying to pull away, down to 17 hit points, down to 11, and now that very, very low hit point Reaper will not be able to deal the same amount of harassment. Back over here, we still have this probe, and now we are training up some Marauders, also getting the stim pack research. Concussive shell has yet to be researched, as we're going into a double and a barracks with a reactor for Marines. And I really like this build, just because as a Taran player, you really have to be fearful of Void Rays. If you throw down dual Raxes with dual tech labs, then you are just asking to get Void Raid. Back over here, we do have a factory now being thrown down, as this command center, about 1/3 of the way built, will be able to come in, land over here, and start mining as well. We do have that Stalker of Hasu now moving out. That's a risky Stalker maneuver, as there already are some Reaper out in the field. So if a second, and that's only one Stalker, so if that Reaper has decided to come back, it may be able to deal some sort of damage, and down goes another probe. So that Reaper now with 4 kills, and now just activating that XelNaga watchtower. We do have some Marauders now moving back. Army-wise, Hasu has a very, very small army, but with this sentry, he will be able to hold off a fight for quite some time. he will also be able to get that all-important immortal to try to counter those marauders. There is not enough marauders yet in order to try to stim and try to shoot down that immortal very, very quickly. The marauder has an attack speed of 1 when it is stimmed. Now, a lot of players have been asking me what my thought is on the whole entire balance issue with Taran, and a lot of people saying that Taran is overpowered. I'll address that in a Q&A session, but I think that even though Taran may have a slight advantage, I wouldn't say that they are definitely overpowered. Also, I think a lot of the metagame really needs to develop in terms, a lot of the metagame needs to develop perhaps more Void Ray usage in order to try to counter those Marauders. Void Rays are so powerful in this whole entire matchup. Also, we now finally have Marines and Marauders moving out. A quick idea that I was thinking about in terms of trying to help the Marauder, or just try to tune down the Marauder just a little bit, not by very much, is increase the cost of Stim Pack for the Marauder from 20 health to 25 health. And that's really a minor change like that, maybe would actually have like very, very large ramifications, just because the amount of energy that Medivacs would be forced to try to expend and trying to heal these Marauders. Psystorm, which I believe deals 85 damage, followed against a Marauder that already took 25 damage, and that Marauder is definitely in the red, something that 2 shots from a Stalker would be able to take down. But what do I know about balance? Back over here, Hasu is now continuing to warp in more units and also getting the chrono boost on the Templar Archive, so that High Templar will be able to cast some Psystorms in just a moment. So very nicely done so far. I like that warp gate on that early High Templar just so it has enough energy. Also getting a lot of Zealots. I really like Hasu's use of Zealots in this particular matchup, but I do not see Zealot charge being researched, and that may be an issue because Marauders with that concussive shells will be able to really slow down, but concussive shell has not been researched. So I take it back though. So those Zealots without that concussive shell should still be able to run head on into there. We do have a scouting factory now floating about as a starport, now double training Medivacs. Shark kind of turtling, kind of not, just moving out with a really mobile army, and now coming in with a nice stim pack. One immortal on that high ground, and are we gonna get those side storms? No, he's just trying to feint with those side storms. One immortal now pushing back. Are those Marines going to head up? No, a lot of these units, however, will get taken down. And no, there's that one Psystorm. So a lot of units now in the red. Medivacs trying to heal up more and more of this army. Immortals now trying to focus down, get a couple quick shots on those Marauders. The Marauders now taking so much damage. One round of attack from these 2 Immortals are able to take it down very, very easily. And will we be able to get those Medivacs out of the air? No. 1 sentry, not enough, as we now have an Archon. Archon doesn't even want to bother with trying to take down this factory that is currently sitting in the air, or flying in the air, as more Medivacs and more armies push out. So Shark losing a lot of units in that engagement, and now more Immortals are being trained. We do have 1 sentry trying to attack back. We also have 1 Archon coming in as well. Archon has a fairly slow attack at 1.75, but has decent amount of splash. Back over here, Immortals have fully recharged their shields. We do have a couple High Templars now in play, and we do not see I do not see the amulet research coming from Hasu. So Hasu, it does not have that amulet research, and it wouldn't be pretty interesting. Oh, Al comes in. Oh, wow. Very nicely done. And now Archon's going to be able to get in a couple of quick free hits over here as that factory has landed. We'll have to lift off and then try to move away once again. Back over here, however, Marauders and Marines getting a good amount of information from this factory, knowing that those Immortals are trying to come in over there. And now in comes this army over here, but a Pro will be able to scout it out. Hasu knows about this incoming army from Shark. Will Shark be able to do anything with this? We do have some High Templars sitting in the back. They do have enough energy. And now quickly trying to take down this Pylon. Pylon will stop any sort of reinforcements coming in. And now, no, the Archon quickly trying to get off a couple of quick attacks. Down goes 1 more Marine, but still those units being forced to pull all the way back behind that brush. And now, are they going to engage? That's a lot of Medivacs in the air, so those Medivacs really healing and keeping this Marauder army alive. Archon trying to push back and forth. We do have the amulet research currently being researched over here, so about, what, 3/4 of the way done. We also, the high yield mineral expansion has been cleared out, and these units now running around the corner will be able to re-heal. And I do not see Shark with any sort of weapons upgrade, now finally throwing down an engineering bay. And now taking a look at the harvester count, 42 for Shark versus Hasu's 36. So that early economic harassment really took its toll. And now because Shark also has those mules will be able to give him an even further economic lead. Back over here, taking a look at the Nexuses do not have that much energy, so Hasu staying on top of that Chrono Boost, trying to make sure that it is constantly mining up, as we now see Shark taking this center location over here. Now this high yield mineral location, it just begs for a planetary fortress. It controls one of the main pathways, guards a rich mineral field, and yeah, that's exactly what you want. You want to try to bring the fight to a planetary fortress, but that's fairly difficult. As a planetary fortress, it cannot take off. Now over here, Archon trying to pull away. We do have some Immortals. High Templars now moving in as well. Will it be enough? As this planetary fortress with a range of six will be able to start getting some pop shots off. Now over here, coming in one Psystorm, but no Psystorms on any of those Marauders. They're trying to get that to overcommit. More Psystorms back over here, and Shark in a definite trouble, taking so much damage, and down goes that planetary fortress. And now another Psystorm coming in. However, some of these High Templars will get taken down. Immortals now standing their ground and trying to fight back, and this is going to come out to be a pretty decent fight here, as this Immortal will be able to perhaps get one more shot. No, not able to, and Hasu is now down to his last Archon. Production-wise, we do see another Immortal being trained, another Gateway being thrown down, and things are looking very, very bad for Hasu. We do have a High Templar on that high ground. Oh, tried to get a Psystorm off using that high ground trick with that pylon and a probe, but unable to, as that probe was taken down, activating the Xel'Naga Watchtower for Shark. Back over here, we do have two High Templars in the ready, and now will it be enough? These Zealots now trying to do some sort of kiting as these High Templars slowly moving their way over. Movement speed of 1.88, so frustrating for that High Templar to get that necessary Psystorm off in the correct position. Income-wise, and we do see Hasu's a little bit behind. Army-wise, we see Shark very much in the lead at this stage in the game. Production, more Immortals being trained, and we do see 3 more Gateways coming in. So we may be some sort of macro play coming into a very, very strong army. And Marauders now chasing after some of those Zealots, and another Psystorm, another Psystorm, and a lot of those Marauders taking so much damage once again. So Marauders just moving back and forth. A lot of these Marauders have stim packed perhaps 5, even 6 times. So that is a significant amount of energy lost due to the stim pack. And now we finally have a medevac moving out. I do not see any photon cannons in the back of the space. So if a Marauder drop does happen on this backside, and it's not going to be very good. We do have one Zealot moving out, and the Zealot, will he be able to see the medevac? Yeah, he does see that medevac right there, and now trying to take down these destructible rocks. Over here, that medevac perhaps going to try to come back around, and we do see some Stalkers now moving in. Are we going to get a feedback? Yeah, feedback onto that medevac, and now that medevac is just going to be stuck in that position. Stalker and pushing it in between a rock and a hard place over that chasm. Will it be enough? And another Psystorm coming in, and down it goes. Very nicely done. Feedback followed with the Psystorm. However, now medevac's going to drop into the back of the base over here instead, and now Shark being forced to warp in 2 Stalkers over here. However, another Psystorm coming in, and now trying to go after this Templar Archives in the back of the base. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Shark and Mouse Hasu here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.